So in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 ways you can help improve your financial situation. So whether you're someone that's in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, or someone that's just trying to build long-term wealth, these 7 things can help you, provide a little guidance. Because let's be honest, we've all been in that situation before, right? Even myself, like I've had $30,000 of debt twice in my life, right? I've lived paycheck to paycheck, and currently I'm right now learning I'm on my path to like building long-term wealth. So these 7 things that I'm gonna share with you, these are things that I've used to help get me out of struggling financial situations and currently helping me build wealth long term. So let's start off with the first thing, which is pay yourself first, right? Because let's be honest, like we have a tendency to pay our bills first, which is a good thing, right? We want to make sure our bills are paid, and I'm not saying not to pay your bills, but we should start getting into the habit of making sure we pay ourselves first before we pay our bills. Because if you're someone that's gonna learn how to like build wealth, get out of debt, stop living paycheck to paycheck, we first have to get into the habit of saying, all right, I'm going to take a certain percentage. And hopefully in this case, I recommend 10%. But if you can't even do that, start slow, start at 5% and build yourself up to 10% and then hopefully more. But we should get into the habit of saying, all right, when I get my paycheck, I'm gonna take 10%, put that off to the side in savings or whatever investment, and make sure that I'm gonna put that aside so I can help use that money to build wealth long term, and then use whatever's left to pay your bills or whatever you have to pay. Because we start and doing this is about building habits, right? You want to develop good habits, right? Because if you're someone that's gonna get out of debt, right? Getting out of debt is about developing good habits. Stop living paycheck to paycheck is about building good habits. Building wealth long term is about developing good habits. So when you get into the habit of saying, you know what, whatever I get paid, I'm gonna take at least 10% of that, put that off to the side somewhere where I can save that and then use that for good use in the future. It's about developing good habits. So the first thing, obviously, if you're gonna improve your financial situation, you want to get into the habit of making sure you pay yourself first. All right. So you're probably thinking to yourself, like, Ralph, like I can't, like I don't make enough money to say, put 10% to the side and make sure use the rest and the 90% to pay my bills. Like I need that 100% to pay on my bills. And this leads me to the next way, which is tracking your expenses. Because let's be honest, like whether you're someone that makes $20,000 a year, 50K, 100K, 200K, there are so many people that are still living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of them making this amount. So the question I have to ask is, like, if you're someone that makes 200K, and you make more than the person that makes 100K, why are you still living paycheck to paycheck? Or if you're someone that's making 100K and you're making more than that person that's making 50K, why are you still living paycheck? So why is it that all these people with different income brackets are still living paycheck to paycheck? Well, the reason is, people have a tendency to say, as I increase my income, what also increases are expenses. And people have this tendency a lot, like, I'll make 50K. If I can only make 100K, I can do the things that I need to do and make sure my bills are paid. But what tends to happen is, as people's income increases, so does the expenses. So we have to make sure, in order to prevent that, we have to make sure that we track our expenses. We have to make sure we budget. We need to make sure that we know that we're making X amount of money every month and we're spending X amount of money. Once you're doing that and you're keeping track of what you're doing, where your money's going, coming in and coming out, then you have a better way of gauging and understanding how and managing your money long term. And then also you got to reduce debt, right? The best return on investment is making sure you reduce debt. If you got credit card debt, you have any type of debt that you're paying a high interest on, the best return on investment is making sure you pay off that debt, right? And like I said, you have to create the budget because you have to track your expenses, and you have to make sure that you can take at least 10% and then eventually more, depending on how you budget. But you want to at least be able to take that 10% and be like, put that off to the side. And if you can't do that, then you need to start looking at your expenses and say, okay, what can I reduce? What can I remove, or what can I eliminate so I can then so I can reach that target percentage of 10%. And that's for a lot of people, because it makes no sense that for a lot of people that they make a certain amount, and regardless of what the amount is, they're still living paycheck to paycheck. And the reason someone's struggling financially is usually because they're probably spending more than they make. So you want to get to a point where you're tracking your expenses, so then you can like reach that target percentage of 10% for you to put to the side to save. So once you've done these 2 things, which is pay yourself first and then track your expenses, the next thing you want to do is then multiply your money, right? So that 10% you put off to the side, or whatever, at least the 10%, you want to figure out how to multiply that money, because like your active income alone, like your 9-to-5 job isn't going to be the best way to build wealth long term, right? It's one of the slowest ways to build wealth. Thinking that the time you put in into your job and the amount of hours you put in, it's going to help build wealth long term is not the smartest way to go about doing it. You got to find a way to take that income that you do have, and you got to figure out how to multiply it, right? Stop thinking about active income, which is the hours that you work, the time that you put in to make your money. You got to figure out how to take that money and then multiply it, put that money to work for you. And the best ways to do that is just you got to invest in income generating assets, which is obviously real estate, stocks and bonds. You want to make sure that you invest in businesses, or then also high yield interest accounts, savings accounts. So you got to figure out how to multiply that money so you can put that money to the side and start allowing that money to make money for you. Put that money to work, right? You're still making your active income, you're still working your 9-to-5 job or whatever you're doing for income, but you want to take that money that you're saving, then you got to put that money to work as well. Because obviously, as we get older, we have less energy. We need to make sure that our money's working for us as we get older, because we want to make sure that we're not always actively like having to exhaust our energy to build wealth long term. If you can find ways to take that money and then put into income generating assets, long term, that's going to help improve your financial situation, because we all want to get to a point where we're making money while we sleep, right? Obviously, we have to put in that work. That's not something that just happens overnight. We have to put ourselves in a position to do that. So if you're gonna figure out how to put yourself, improve your financial situation, you got to figure out a way to multiply your money long term. So the next thing is you need to protect that money that you're investing, right? So you want to make sure you're investing in things you understand, right? Don't just look for get rich quick schemes, or you got a friend over there that does investments and you're like, oh, I'm just going to give my money to that person and then have them make more money. You want to make sure you understand your investments, right? You want to protect that money, right? You don't want to just give that money away and then have it just get blown, right? You want to make sure you, at least whatever you're investing in, or whatever you're putting that money into that's going to generate income, you want to make sure you at least understand what you're investing in, because that's one of the quickest ways to lose money. Just blindly giving your money out to these things and looking for get rich quick schemes and then losing that money, right? You want to make sure you protect that money and understand that whatever you're investing in, you have a deep understanding. If you've done your research and have a security that I'm gonna get a good return on my money, right? So that's one of the most important things. Make sure whatever investment you're investing in, make sure you've done your research and you at least understand it. Now the fifth thing is planning for retirement, right? I know for a lot of us, we do a poor job of doing this. Like, you're in your 20s, you're like, I'm not worried about it. Like, being 60, 70 years old is a long way, so I'm not gonna really focus on that. But when 30 comes, your 40s come, you start thinking about it more, like, oh damn, how the hell am I retired? And obviously for a lot of people, they rely on the Social Security, right, as if that's gonna get them to the rest of their life. But that's obviously the wrong mentality to have, right? You have to focus on building, planning for your own retirement, right? You can't be relying on anyone else. There's no government to take care of you as you get older. You want to make sure you put yourself in a position for, as you get older and you don't want to work and you can't work anymore, or you don't want to work anymore, that you have money that's going to last you for the rest of your life. So you got to invest in things that's going to make sure that that when it comes to retirement, you have the money to live out the rest of your life. And obviously that's through stock and bonds, 401ks, retirement accounts. So just invest in things that, as over time, and the earlier you do it, the better it is going to be for you, right? If you're someone, the best when it comes to investing, your most valuable asset is time, right? So you want to make sure that you can start early. Even if you're in your 30s and 40s, then there's no better time than to start now. And you want to make sure you're building that money over time. And as you get into that retirement age, you have money that's going to last you for the rest of your life. Next, we have financial education, right? All right, this is something that you should never stop doing, regardless of what age you are. You should always be continuously learning, because obviously when you look at the environment, the economy, like it's always changing. You have times of high inflation, you have times of economic stress, you have economic booms. Like there's so many different situations that you have to understand. You have to really understand and learn and educate yourself to adapt to any environment that you're in. So you have to always make sure that you're educating yourself, whether it's through videos, through books, any type of courses, whatever it is. Continue to learn and understand the environment that you're living in and how you can adapt to that and also thrive financially in that environment. So always make sure you're educating yourself. It never stops, regardless of how much money you have. One thing you could always do is read a book. You can always watch a video and always learn, regardless of how old you are. So that's something that should be continuously, and that should never stop. So finally, continue to develop new skills, right? So if you're someone that's struggling financially right now, right, you don't like your financial situation, I don't know if your job maybe is not paying you more, the one thing you should always be doing is trying to develop new skills, right? Now, if you're someone that's young and you're trying to get you're starting to get into the workforce, I know the tendency is to look for a job, obviously, to make money right away, right? We all, I need money, so I got to find a job to make money. But rather than that, I would say focus on trying to find a job that's gonna where you can learn, right? Learn new skills, right? Of course, you want to make money, but try to, if you can, try to focus on a job that's going to help you develop new skills, right? What they say is like work to learn, not just to earn, right? You want to find a place where you can learn and earn at the same time and develop new skills. So long term, you can then take these skills and help you make more money. Because if you look at the situation we're in, like right now, like a lot of people are like at a job and they're like, oh, I need to make more money at this job, even though it's a low skill job. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask for a raise, but if you have a job that it's not a high skill job and it's not paying you enough, the goal shouldn't be to like, oh, hey boss, you need to pay me more. What you should be doing is like, all right, how can I develop new skills so that I can leave the job and then go to another job that's going to pay me more because I have developed new skills, right? Because when people talk about inflation, the reason why inflation is so high right now is because if you look at labor costs, right? Like a lot of people are saying, oh, I make $15 an hour, I need to make 20. Now, if I have a business and I have employees that make $15 an hour, and now they all say they want $20, I'm like, okay, that's a $5 raise. What I'm going to do is then transfer that cost off to the customers. So the prices of the products and services are going to increase at the same time. So I'm not the only business that's doing that. The places that you shop for are doing the same thing. As their employees are asking for more money, they're like, okay, now I just have to raise the cost of the goods and services. So even if you're getting that $5 raise, if products and services around you where you shop are also increasing at the same time, then what are you really getting? Like, what is that raise actually doing? So then it creates a cycle of, I need more money, give me more money, and then products and services continue to rise and inflation continue to go up. So instead of saying, all right, you know what, if I'm at a job that is low skilled, instead of trying to say if I can get more money there, what you should be focusing on is developing new skills and then taking those skills into another job that's going to pay you more money, right? So always try to develop, new skills so you can like better, equip yourself to make more money long term. Because the more money that you make, the more money you can save and invest, right? So that should be the focus, right? So that's all I got for you guys today. If you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave it down below. Hit the like button and share. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. All right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.